Hey, this is Keith St. John from Montrose Kingdom Come, Burning Rain, and Raiding the Rock Vault, and you're watching We Go to 11.
Why
don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I've been a fan of a lot of the stuff you've done. I mean, I saw the
Killer.
Raiding the Rock Vault, Burning Rain. I saw you with Kingdom Come. I think you were up here in Vancouver, Washington. One of the few gigs you did up here in the Northwest, I think.
I think you're right. I think it was Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah, it was a smaller club. I think it was one of those warm-up type things, I think, when you initially joined the band. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, it was different in the sense that, Lenny's not there, but they had somebody that pretty capable of tackling the stuff, the material. So
yeah, it's kind of up my alley. The things, I've never really been much into joining other people's bands with their music and stuff, but if I could just do my thing,
right,
it works, and it's, I don't feel like I'm kind of like trying to change my voice to be somebody else or whatnot, then I'm good with it, man, and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
So,
nice.
was that perhaps our first show that we had done ever? Was that in like 2018?
Yeah, it was. And I think it was one of the first, if not one, one or two shows in, or a couple shows in.
First show we did was definitely in the state of Washington, so I'm not sure if it
that was
there
probably
or
it. It's close to It's close to Portland. I mean, it's like just over crossing a bridge, basically. It's some place. Some artists tend to refer to that as a Portland gig. I mean, there's even like a town further up north, Ridgefield, and they consider that a Portland show, I guess.
Right.
They perform out in the amphitheater. But so that good stuff. So again, when I was asked about that, I was like, sure, why not? What the hell? It'd be good. And we get to talk a little bit about Ronnie Montrose, which is a band that I was very, very into and still am into. I mean, I think those are
You grew up on the West Coast?
I grew up on the West Coast. I'm in Oregon. So I'm a Pacific Northwest, and
Right.
He's a Bay Area guy, a Northern California guy. So, he's one of those bands that we heard on classic rock radio here all the time.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I did not get all that because I grew up in the New York area on Long Island. So I was less familiar until I joined the band. And then, or Ronnie reformed, which you hadn't been into doing for so many years. And then I got a quick crash course on it, man. But what a cool band. What cool tunes and a cool vibe to that whole first couple of records they did, man.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with self-titled and then Paper Money. I mean, those are those records that you even hear bands like Raven and Iron Maiden were totally into those first couple records. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-titled is sometimes known as the Great Eight.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if we can do something with this lighting. Hold on.
Okay.
What is wrong with this thing? Serious problems going on. Right. Maybe that's a little better.
There you go. But yeah, you can't go wrong with those records. And, just even though Hagar has that youthful sound to him, I mean, he's still got that powerful vocal, and then just Ronnie's riffs. I mean, great stuff.
Yeah.
And the rhythm section.
He's a lot more raw. It's kind of like when you hear Paul Rodgers in Free versus when you hear Paul Rodgers in like later in Bad Company. He's a lot more accomplished.
Yes.
And I take that era as kind of Sammy's like Free era. Like when he's letting it go, man, and voice cracks here and there, but that actually sounds cool.
Right. So. I'm curious for yourself though. Who's the rhythm section when you were part of that in particular incarnation of Montrose? Because I know he had all sorts of different guys rolling in and out of the band. I think later on in the years, I think he had Eric Singer, maybe Chuck Wright, Ricky Phillips, and then DeGrasso, I think.
Well, you're naming some names there. So as the story goes, Ronnie and I were working together just as kind of two dudes, writing songs, coming over each other's houses and kind of like with a couple of guitars, banging out drum parts on our knees and recording all this stuff. I think at that time I was going to say probably with a cassette player, but no, we always had Ronnie liked to record things on DAT at the time when we first met. It was the DAT player, with stereo mics.
Right.
Because he was a tinkerer and he liked to, really get stuff like pristine, So we recorded probably about a record and a half of stuff like that. And then he was approached by Scott Barret, who was Steve Miller's manager for most of Steve's career. I think he still is. And Steve said, man, I've been a fan, all my life of your stuff. If you would finally put an actual Montrose band back together, I'd like to help you get your career back in line of where it should be. And it was around the time that, the retro movement was starting to happen. It was, the 80s and the 70s fans were starting to work again and stuff like that. So Ronnie said yes, and he decided to take a leap of faith and finally steer down the path that got him there to begin with, and go back to the early Montrose sound and put a band together. Well, we put just enough musicians together to go into the studio at Leeds and jam, just so we could see, he could see how I felt singing this stuff. And in about 20 or 30 seconds, he just stopped and said, hey man, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And so he's like, I'm not a guy, I'm not like you are. I'm not around LA. I don't know musicians around town or anything anymore. Can you get us some guys? So, I got, the first guys I called was Pat Torpy, Mr. Big on drums, and Chuck Wright. And Chuck and Pat had just worked together because Billy, I think, either did a solo album at that point, and Chuck was filling in for him and Mr. Big. So those guys had a thing going. And that first rhythm section was smoking, man. And we put a set together and we started doing a couple of experimental gigs at small, like Roadhouse places up in the Bay Area. And I think one of them was actually called the Roadhouse. And that was it. We were off to the races. And, as we just migrated through the year and the next year, there were times when these guys had to do stuff, Pat was Mr. Big and Chuck had other stuff going on. So, some Mr. Big stuff came up. We had to sub in, and I think Eric Singer was the first guy that subbed in for Pat. Because you mentioned Eric Singer.
Right.
And somewhere along the line, we also had a Wild Mick Brown. Who was really, Wild Mick is one of the most underrated drummers.
Right.
Not that he's, not that he's not revered, but he should be way more revered. He's in that school. He's in that class, with a Pat Torpy and a Buddy Rich and all that stuff. He listens like all that stuff where, during the song or during the breaks, the guitar player, like Ronnie, decides to do some other stuff.
Right.
And the drummer answers it. And they're like kind of talking to each other in the middle of the song, even though they're playing the song parts, there's still other nuances that they're feeling each other, and as a tip of the hat to each other. And that kind of musicianship, that kind of jamming on stage isn't that common, anymore. And especially, maybe with the glam rock scene, you don't really expect that many people to grasp onto that whole old school style of playing. So, and then David Ellefson and Jimmy DeGrasso came in together, and they were Scott Barret's guys. I don't know what he had his hand in some of their pie somewhere, whatever they were working on. Whether, I don't think it was Megadeth, but maybe some of the other stuff they were working on. And he got them in the band, and that was a few years. That was 3 or 4 years with those guys. We had Mick Mahan, original bass player from Pat Benatar. He played bass with us for a bit. And Ricky Phillips, who, I remember working with Ricky to help him work up the harmonies for Styx, because he got the call for that gig. And I was like, man, that was another coincidence, that was like my favorite band when I was a little kid, growing up. I was like,
Sure.
I really like those guys, probably because of all the classical music I was always around, and show tunes, and a lot of their music had all those kind of classical show tune breaks in them and stuff, but so yeah, that's basically, I mean, a lot of the members that we had during that time. Sean McNabb also played for a while. Sean McNabb and Wild McBrown were the two guys in the band on bass and drums when we did the Rockline show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Live, and they did that, the whole live band set, which was the first time Montrose was ever on it. So
Nice.
I was happy and proud to be part of that. And you can find those recordings somewhere, and they're pretty cool.
I was just going to say, you inspired me to make a mental note to dig that up, because I do remember listening to that. We did get Rockline up here. I mean, it was broadcast on one of the Portland, Oregon stations. So yeah, right, I remember hearing that. Out of curiosity though, for you, Keith, and then we'll get talking 10th anniversary of this Ronnie Montrose Remembered, which I've caught a couple of them over the years, when I've made it down to.
Well, you made it down.
I have made it down. I need to make it down again. I'm just glad that you're still doing this. And then there's the other ones that they Bonzo Bash and I think Randy Rhodes. So tributes to some of the greats. But you're involved specifically with this particular tribute night to Ronnie Montrose. But for yourself, what is your favorite, or what has been your favorite Montrose tune to perform?
Oh gosh,
because there's a lot. I mean, even though we're looking at a lot of people,
they're different energies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That kind of the first and second record are kind of all over the map. Well, one thing that happened while over the years while we were doing it, and the other musicians coming in kept bringing it up, and they were like, "Hey, Ronnie, how come you don't do that song Connection? Why don't we play Connection? Okay. That's a great song, And after enough time, I don't know, maybe Ronnie wanted to burn, man. He didn't want to hang out and play, play acoustic or acoustic like riffs or whatever. I don't know what it was. He didn't seem really super into it, but I would say 4 or 5 times we worked it up.
Okay.
And we even worked it up at sound check, like we were going to play it. And then we never wound up playing it. We never wound up playing Connection.
Yeah.
And the first time I actually played Connection in front of an audience, and I told them, was at the very first Ronnie Montrose Remembered, back in 2016 at the Observatory. And, it was a major magical night and a magical moment. So every year since then, we've done Connection. So Connection is one of my favorites to sing because of that whole vibe.
Okay.
Happened. And but back in the day with Ronnie, the opener was always really exciting. You're at a rock concert, people are jazzed up, and especially when we first came out with the new Montrose, everyone was jacked up. They were like, ready to go. And so Rock the Nation was just a blast, because it's quick. You get in, you get out, and it has that real cool vocal with the band ending,
right?
And bam, and then there's that moment, and typically, maybe a lot of times we'd go right into Good Rockin' Tonight. So all of a sudden, it's that thing, and it just picks up the energy, and it's just this moment that grabs you, man.
Right.
And then you're part of the machine. It's taking you down the river. So that is like probably one of my favorite moments. Song wise, I originally thought I Got the Fire felt really good.
Oh yeah.
Got out playing that. I just like the energy of that. It's a little bit more bombastic than the other tunes,
Sure.
Sure. And then the drums, however you sing it. And right. And being a drummer as well, I always appreciated all his drum parts. Denny Carmassi, just came up with their parts, you really have to learn them. You can't just sort of sit down and think you're going to be able to play the song if you haven't studied it.
And I was thinking about that when you mentioned Ellefson, because I do vaguely recall that he was, part of Montrose, or part of the rhythm section. That was the one song, I was like, that would be the tune. I've Got Fire would be the one that kind of goes right into his thrash kind of wheelhouse with his bass lines that he's, made famous in Megadeth and stuff.
Well, they've got the parallel guitar bass line that goes together. You got to play that, whether you go up an octave or you stay down there. It's got all that in it.
Yeah. And what do you think about this? Because I've often thought about Montrose. I think they're kind of like they almost slot in my opinion, between Purple and Zeppelin. I think they should have been that big.
Somewhere in there, I think, they had the potential with the chemistry they had, with the songs they started out with the, the stance and the persona they had, they really were poised to go in that direction. And, unfortunately, what's the right way to put this? Unfortunately, the behind the scenes opinions and vibe between Ronnie and Sam didn't agree. Ronnie was, when I worked with Ronnie, he was older, wiser, let's just say, and had probably mellowed to a point where, yes, he was still clearly the leader of the platoon, but he paid respect to everybody else's, what they want to do and what they need to do. And from everything I've heard over the years, I think in his younger years, he kind of didn't really want the singer to go out in the spotlight. Is the vibe that I get after talking to Sam, after talking with Bob James, who was the second singer. When the band was called Montrose, I think he kind of wanted to be more like the Jeff Beck group, where Jeff Beck is pretty much the main superstar there, and everybody else, including the singer, is kind of a side person.
Sure.
And Ronnie he was a huge fan of Beck. So, I mean, maybe he did see it that way. I never had that conversation with him.
Sure. Sure.
He had a conversation with me early on, and, he said, Keith, I look at a band as, this pyramid. He's like, we got guitar player, bass player, and then we got the point of the pyramid, which is right there, is the singer. And when he made a point of saying that to me, I kind of felt like maybe there was something in the past that he was trying to sort of correct, Right. I just had that vibe. And then later on, I kind of heard the word from some older fans that, how's he treating you? And, blah, blah, blah. And
my
time with him was great.
Sure.
I mean, Ronnie wanted to know, what was going on in my relationships, and, he had comments to say, and try to help out,
Right.
Big brotherly love kind of a thing. And, it was a great presence to be around, I thought. I guess I see how he might have had friction from the stories I've heard, in his early years. And then I read Sam's book, and after I already talked to Sam a little bit, and it all came together. I was like, okay, he was a different kind of, he was a lot more bossy, and didn't want to share the spotlight as much when he was younger. That's too bad, because those guys really, really, really could have done a lot bigger than what happened.
One more thing on past Montrose stuff. I know Ricky Phillips put together that 10 by 10 record, which was a bunch of stuff, I think, that was in the can that Ronnie had recorded. I don't think there was any solos, because he brought in guest singers, guest guitarists that laid down the solos for those tunes. 10 songs, 10 singers, 10 guitarists kind of thing, 10 by 10. For yourself, though, was there any of the material that was in there that had been kind of in play while you were in the band? Because the rhythm section there is Singer and Phillips.
Right. Yeah. Wow. I think in interviewing for the Ronnie Montrose Remembered tribute shows, I think you're the first person that's asked me that.
Oh,
Ronnie Montrose tribute show that we're talking about is on January 24th at
Right.
7:30 p.m. Around the NAMM convention
Yep.
at Grand Theater. Anyway,
Yep.
the answer to that question is yes. There was. I think it's safe. It's been enough years for me to
Right.
say, yeah. There's material that Ronnie and I wrote together that got included on the 10 by 10 record, and I signed off to the fact that they could use it back then. Lisa
Right.
Montrose asked me, Ronnie's widow, and I said no problem.
Sure.
But
Okay.
I wrote a lot of stuff on that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, got it. With that though, you did mention, his widow, approaching you about the material on that. What kind of stuff do you have to go through to get the blessing or approval of, the Ronnie Montrose estate to do something like this? Or do you, an event like the Ronnie Montrose Remembered?
Well, it really depends. This all boils down to trademarks, copyrights, this and that kind of a thing. Obviously, we can go out to a club and play a Rolling Stones song, and Rolling Stones can't come sue us for doing that.
Sure.
So I can go to a club or a theater and play Montrose songs all day long, and no one can say, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't play these songs." Of course, I can play these songs. You can go sing a Frank Sinatra song, and if anyone was going to come after you, it'd probably be him, in his estate. But yeah, so there's no question with that. But as far as I don't really use the official Montrose logo in a way where it presents the show. The show kind of has its own logo that I designed. The RMR with the lightning streak through it and all that. These days, everyone's a little older. As far as, if I go do a show at some festival in Chicago or in Europe, they might use the Kingdom Come logo and the Burning Rain logo and the Montrose logo in the ad.
Yeah, in the ad mat, right? Yeah.
News,
Yeah.
And when I put this stuff on my personal Facebook page, I do the same thing. I go, hey, you want to honor the people,
Sure.
You say, hey, there's Brad Gillis from Night Ranger, and people get excited about that kind of thing. And so it really depends. If I was to put a band together and call it Montrose and wanted to go on the road with it,
Right.
I would definitely need to have an agreement with the estate.
Right.
And that could possibly happen. I've been approached about that several times.
Well, I was going to ask you, that sounds like a brilliant idea. There's bands out there right now with no original members, no classic members, and they're performing the tunes in oftentimes equally as good, if not, depending on the band, even better than the original band.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, these things are just case by case basis, and all these things that had happened. Back in the day, there was a big controversy with Styx, and I was I was divided because I was like, well, I was always a big Tommy Shaw fan as a kid, that dude is something special kind of thing, and he wrote a lot of cool tunes, but as a kid, I also knew the history that it was Dennis's band.
Right.
And he came up with the whole concept and the name, and he wrote the first hits and got the band off the ground. So I was a little confused when the court ruled in favor of Dennis not being able to use the name.
Right.
So it's a case by case basis. and a lot of it has to do with commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And for the listeners who want to go and read about it, if you're actually making commerce with the name, then you actually have more of a stand on acquiring the name legally than maybe the original owners who aren't using it for any commerce right now. And that's the word you're going to find when you go look at the trademark laws and how they work.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's another interesting question that I've never been asked.
There you go.
I love it.
So with this though, Keith, you probably have some people that are the regulars, because I've, like I said, I've caught a couple of these, and some of them have been repeat offenders that show up in the lineup, performing. But I'm guessing this is one of those things that, regardless of whether you could play the same 20 songs year after year, but I think it always is fresh, right? Because you have different guys inserted in different, places and performing it differently. So that keeps it fresh, right? So for yourself, has there ever been somebody that and you don't need to name them, that you go, oh boy, I don't want to have that person back again, and it was a total nightmare? Or has it all been pretty cool?
The very, very few times that happened, I don't have to open my mouth, because, the other players,
right.
They'll say it before I will,
Mm-hmm.
So,
out of curiosity though, is this one of those things where you have to have, like, let's say you have somebody thrown into the mix that hasn't been brought up as a performer? Is that something that is somebody that you vet through some of the other guys that you trust, that you have a pretty good relationship with, and trust their judgment if it's somebody to go with or not?
Well, there's a couple different, facets to Ronnie's music, and one of them is that, the Great Eight and the Paper Money record. And then you've got the Gamma stuff, which is a whole different sound and a whole different twist. And then you've got Ronnie's instrumental solo stuff.
Sure. Right.
Some older stuff, the Van Morrison, we do a little bit of that, in the Edgar Winter.
Mm-hmm.
So got all these different types of music going on. So I would say there are guys that are really in tune with each of those camps that I, as you say, will trust. If they say, look, I got this guy will destroy this song. It'll be amazing.
Sure.
So,
Right.
and because I worked with him, with Lady Gaga, whatever, and he's, we did all the whatever sessions or whatever band they did together, and he's just ridiculously amazing. So he'll be great for that. If it's the rock stuff, I think I don't really. I pretty much have made all the calls on that.
Right.
The meat and potatoes, I'll call it. That those first two records, that kind of stuff. I pretty much try to make all the calls on that, and I do try to invite new people each year that haven't been gone. This year we have Billy Sheehan, who's never done it. Red Beach, who's never done it.
Right.
You've got a guy named Alessandro Del Vecchio.
Oh yeah, the guy that was the Frontiers guy, right? He was involved with everything Frontiers.
Producer, songwriter, right?
Yeah, right. So how did you get him? I'm not surprised he's involved, but he's in Italy, if I recall.
I did one record. I did him with Doug on Burning Rain. Was partially on Frontiers Records, and we did one record that was fully on Frontiers Records. So, I met Alessandro then. I think one of the records he played all the keyboards on, and he produced.
Oh, so, nice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, on one of those records. So, I thought about, what about Alessandro, man? Because I saw that. I knew him as a keyboard player, and then I started seeing more and more points to him that he was tagging me on, of him starting a real singing career in the last bunch of years. And I said, man, I should get Ali to come and sing this. He's really, for these certain style of tunes that he's going to be singing on.
Sure.
I'm like, he's really a great guy for that stuff. And he responded well, and he's coming, and I'm glad to have him.
Nice.
So case by case basis. Man.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so you got Sheehan and you got him on board. Who else do you have as a first timer on this one?
First timer. What did I say? Billy Sheehan, Reb Beach was the first.
Oh yeah,
timer.
Reb Beach.
Hunter
Yep.
Del Vecchio is a first timer.
Sure.
There's a guy that's another first timer that I can't announce yet.
Oh, okay. So that's that's one of the surprises, I guess, huh?
He's a singer that's definitely coming, but I can't announce him yet.
So what song is Youngblood going to be singing?
Let's just say he's also flying over from Europe.
Okay. Well, it might just be. You say you're not going to tell us, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll find out at some point.
He's a big guy, but I can't announce him.
Okay. Nice. So he's just going to swoop in, do the tune, and sneak right out the back.
No, I'm going to announce him after the 15th of this month. That's
okay. Oh, geez. There you go. So you're a little bit of a pop into the VIP and ticket sales.
Yep. Exactly.
Nice. Okay.
We'll see, man. We'll see. It's the surprise guest. And
sure. Nice.
It's going to be a good one. But,
yeah.
Let's see. I think almost everybody, I got to say, has done it at least one time before.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gilby Clark's done it one time before.
Okay.
But, and there's a lot of great names on there. Did we mention any of the names yet or no? I don't even know.
No, I don't think. I think you mentioned a few of the other people that have been there before. I think earlier.
Okay,
but
okay.
No,
but
I mean,
if you haven't,
yeah. Throw some more out though. I mean, I know
lineup. I mean, we got Brad Gillis from Night Ranger.
Yeah, you mentioned
as I mentioned, Reb Beach from Winger and Whitesnake. Dave Amato from REO.
Oh wow.
Blas Elias from Slaughter and Transit Orchestra. Also Blue Man Group. He was also with Kingdom Come for a minute and Burning Rain. Then we got Stacey Blades from LA Guns. I don't know if you have seen Stacey live. Have you ever seen him?
With LA Guns. With LA Guns. Yeah. So it's been a bit. I mean, it's been a bit since he's been in LA Guns.
He's really good at this stuff, man.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Phil Demmel?
Yes, from Machine Head and Kerry King's solo band. Yeah. Violence. Yeah. No.
Huge Montrose fan. Actually, really huge Gamma fan.
See, that people like that are the ones that I gravitate towards because it's kind of, you would think it's out of their wheelhouse, but they grew up listening to the 70s stuff, so it's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's way into Gamma, man. Then of course Dave Ellefson, as we talked about from Megadeth, all his other things he's been in. Randy Jackson from Zebra.
Okay.
Familiar with Zebra?
Yes, I am. Yeah. That's another one of those underrated
bands. So to be familiar with Zebra, they were the opposite thing,
Sure.
They were the opposite engine. Montrose was huge on the west, and Zebra was bigger on the east, kind of
right.
thing.
Right.
And Zebra was legendary in the Long Island clubs before I was old enough to play and be in the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like these demigods, that when the older guys hired me to come into a band, they'd be like, "Whoa, we're gonna do what Zebra did and Twisted Sister did, and we'll do that, and that's our plan of attack," kind of a thing. And so I was so happy to become friends with Randy, and then the first show, well, not the first show, like the second show I went to of his, he invited me on stage.
Oh wow!
And once I got up, he whispered in my ear, like, "Hey man, do you know the Rover?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that."
Oh wow!
And we played 15 Zeppelin songs or something, and then because before they wrote their own tunes and got their record on Atlantic, their first one, they were a Zeppelin tribute band.
So they were a tribute band before there were tribute bands.
Yeah, they were before there were tribute bands.
Sure.
They were doing that. They were coming up and doing, they were doing mostly Zeppelin. And in those days, I guess, I don't know when this was. This would have been late 70s into the 80s, into the mid 80s, right? And they'd mix in their originals.
Sure.
Back east.
Right.
Hey man, you guys play any originals?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, that's what. So Yeah, they knew a million Zepp tunes. So we played for together about an hour the first time he invited me up. And then I was tickled pink the first time I called Randy and asked him if he wanted to come out and do the Ronnie Montrose thing. And he said, well, let me see if I'm coming out to California during NAMM. And if I am, I'm there, man. And he did.
Right.
He's come out a few times. It's been great. I also have Robbie Lochner, guitar player.
Great White. Jack Russell's Great White, I guess.
Jack's Great White. And Jack became a good friend of the show.
Right.
And a good friend of mine. Jack came and sang at Ronnie Montrose Remembered 3 or 4 times. And before he passed. And as the newer version, the version I was in of Kingdom Come, we actually had some gigs together with Jack's Great White. So, you know, I got to fun with him a few times backstage and do all that. And he was just a great guy. Jack would come down to little jams that I had around LA and come and sit in. You know, he's just really like heartfelt, kindred spirit kind of dude. And their whole band, I mean, I just got tighter with, including Robbie and Dan McNay, Tony Montana, and Dick Guzzar, the drummer. And they've all played, actually they played together when Jack was still alive. They played together as a band at one of the Ronnie Montrose Remembered shows. And they just got up as a band and did it too. So I'm really glad that Robbie's coming down this year and keeping Jack Russell's Great White torch with Ronnie Montrose Remembered alive.
Right.
I got 2 guys from YNT. I got Mike Vanderfuel, the drummer.
Okay.
And I got Brad Lang, the bass player.
Okay. Nice.
Who had replaced Phil Kennemore back in the day.
Right. He was also in Burning Rain, right?
He was. He's played on the same record as Blas Elias.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, small world. And then I already mentioned Billy Sheehan, and of course Doug Aldrich is coming down. You know, he has a way of handling those Montrose tunes with that same like force and toughness. You know, I mean, he has a way of delivering that stuff that really makes it feel good. And so every time he's with us, man, I really have a good time playing that stuff.
Yeah, and awesome guitar player. I mean, just the stuff he did with Dio, and then filling in, when he did and covered all the classic stuff with the Vivian and the Craig Goldie stuff. I mean,
man,
can't go wrong there with any of that stuff.
Yeah,
and then his stuff with
the
Whitesnake.
entire Whitesnake career after that.
Ugh. And then Burning Rain. So there you go. Out of curiosity,
and we are talking about recording a single right now and trying to do a
Burning Rain. Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that.
If do a single and put something out. You know, I brought it up to everybody, and everybody was in. I'm just we're trying to see if Doug can break off the time right now, and we'll get that done. Maybe right after NAMM. Let's see.
Yeah, nice. So who would be drumming at this point there?
Blas and no, be that lineup. Blas.
Okay, it would be nice.
It was the last album that they played on.
Sure. Okay, so it'd be the same guys. Nice. Okay. Yeah. And for yourself, I mean, with Kingdom Come, I mean, that dissolved, and I'm guessing now with the passing of James Kottak, I mean, it's lost a little something, even if they put it back together, don't you think?
Well, it lost a lot when we lost James, but we were moving on, and Blas Elias was actually stepped in, and in my opinion, was doing a great job, and he was one of the few people that I felt the fans would be accepting of.
Sure, because he's from the era, right? Because he's from the era as well.
Step in and he was like one of James's favorite drummers publicly too. So it made sense.
Sure,
but all of us members did not agree with that, and
eventually,
I just stepped back, and I don't want to be around for too many arguments and feud stuff. So I just stepped back and I said, hey, I'm going to leave it go now. At that point, me and Blas were playing in the Raiding the Rock Vault show in Vegas. together. So, we played together all week for like 3.5 years, and that whole stint just ended.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because that ended at the tail end of December, right? And so I was going to ask you because you did that for so long. Big loss for yourself, but is it coming back?
It ended and came back in the past.
Right.
I don't think it's going to come back in Las Vegas again.
Okay.
I think, you may see it touring on the road and
okay.
at a city near you.
Nice.
So, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I think some people just need a little break and a little headspace, and then we'll see how it regroups, as time goes by.
Now, would that be with some of the same cast? And would you be interested in doing something like that, where let's say you do 3-4 nights in a city and then move on to yeah. Okay.
I would. It's got to be the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
The Vegas situation was right for me because I wanted to do a lot of recording. I was working on a lot of recording projects, and in order to do that, it's much easier to sleep in the same bed every night.
Sure.
So when the world comes to you, and you can drive a few minutes to your concert, and then drive home and get back to your recording, then it was cool. It was working out. But honestly, the timing of the ending of its residency in Vegas actually worked with me because I was kind of pulling back already, playing less and less gigs since about last June. Like I haven't been playing all the shows. I've been subbing out a lot. So the timing for me was cool. Honestly, if they weren't going to be ending at the end of this past December, I probably would have left in about June or July or something.
Okay.
Because I'm starting to get some other things going in other areas.
Sure. So
blah,
it's kind of one of those things where you can't be juggling two things at once. And I guess there's always that thing where you feel like you're not really putting your 100% in either or, huh? I'm guessing. I mean, even though you are basically, but you're not satisfied.
I'm a kind of creative dude, and so many other creative things were coming up, and I just felt, I got to slow that stuff down because I need more time to do all the creative endeavors I want to do, while I still can. And singer's got kind of a shelf life, right? So, apparently for Sammy, he's
no kidding.
Like that forever.
Yeah, no kidding. He's kind of still, he's starting to finally show a little bit of the father time on his face and hair. But he held it together for so long that
absolutely
it's nuts, man. It's nuts. It's like he's.
I mean, look at Paul McCartney.
Sure.
Underrated singer. I mean, people rave about his bass playing and his songwriting, but I mean, his singing was so fantastic and really the glue behind the whole Beatles. The whole early Beatles thing is like Paul's voice, like being that high harmony all the time. And I was sad. I don't know if a tear actually came to my eye, but I was at SoFi in LA.
Oh, okay.
About 4 years ago, he was playing, and very first time I heard his voice break ever, I was like, no. I felt like part of me was becoming invisible, like my body was slowly fading away, like he was dying because Paul was losing his voice. I was like,
right. But again, I mean, he's
look at how many years he kept that going.
Yeah, I mean, he kept it going up until that point. I mean, that's what a run.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is now. He must have been like about 80 then.
Sure. So he's got to be mid 80s, right? Somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah. And he's still doing it. So there you go.
Yep.
And he's not embarrassing himself either, though. I mean, I think that's the thing he has going for him is the fact that he still looks reasonably pretty good and still sounds pretty good.
Well, it doesn't show on his face that it bothers him about the, some of the notes he can't really hit anymore. And that's what pulls it off,
Sure.
Robert Plant on his first tour, because the way they recorded those records, I mean, on Zeppelin's first or second tour, I mean, already there was a lot of that stuff that wasn't humanly possible for him
Right.
to do. And he never showed any signs of caring about that. He just like did his thing and he sang it the way he sang it.
Right.
And if you're not self-conscious of the fact that it needs to be exactly the way it was on the record, then I think you're way ahead of the game, and
Sure.
you can comfortably entertain an audience, and they can feel that.
Yeah. Right.
So
Nice. Wow. So again, we're chatting with Keith St. John, and what we have here is the 10th anniversary. It's nuts because I clearly remember going to NAMM in 12. That's when Ronnie was supposed to be there in 2012. And I remember I checked Thursday and it said Ronnie Montrose appearing Saturday, that Saturday, and then went Friday and Ronnie Montrose appearing, and then went back through that area because I think it was for some guitar strings that he was being endorsed from, and then it canceled, and that really made my stomach drop because that was
Dean Markley.
Yeah, it was, and I know, yeah, it was Dean Markley because the Queensryche guys were supposed to be at the booth with him. So
Last year, Dean came to the show, called me up.
Oh yeah,
coming down, yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if he'll come down this year. I might get a last minute call from him again and have him come down. It was an honor to have him and his wife there.
Nice. So 10th anniversary, Ronnie Montrose Remembered, killer lineup. And that happens what day again and where?
It happens Saturday, January 24th, and that is 2 blocks away from the Anaheim Convention Center at a venue called the Grand Theater. And it's at 7:30 p.m. during the NAMM convention. Go to RonnieMontroseRemembered.com. And you will find a description of what's going on, the tickets, general admission, VIPs, super VIPs. You'll find out if you're interested in one of those packages. You can also go to my Instagram, Keith St. John, KeithStJohn, and I'll pop up and you can see the players and click on my, what do they call it, link tree, and that'll also get you tickets. And yeah, we'll see you there, man. Let me know what you need. We've got T-shirts you can pre-order if you'd like. The special 10-year commemorative anniversary show shirts. And looking forward to seeing you all there, man. Get it before it sells out. Actually, I'm sorry, the super VIPs are sold out.
Oh, those are gone. Yeah.
I just remembered those are gone.
Nice.
But VIPs are about halfway gone. And generals generally come together like from now till the show is when they all start selling, and a lot of the walk-ins by the generals. But it's 1,000-seater, so
yeah,
if you're looking for general admission ticket, you might be able to squeeze yourself in. But I wouldn't hesitate to for all these artists that you're going to see and what happens, and for the fact that we give proceeds to Sweet Relief Charity, which helps musicians in with need of medical care, and which includes mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tickets are only $39 general admission.
Nice. Well, there you
39
go.
months to see
You
all
can't
those
go wrong.
players, man. That's
Yeah,
not
and it's a great time and great tunes. So there you go. I mean,
for a dinner, so come on.
Yeah, no kidding. So before I let you off the hook here, I gotta ask you, one, do you have a Spinal Tap-esque type story that you can share? And then at the tail end, we'll have you do an intro for this that we'll tag at the front end of this, and then we'll add all the links that you just mentioned to the interview. So
Spinal
Tap-esque type story, be it with the Kingdom Come, with the Rock Vault, with Ronnie, with Burning Rain, or anything.
I don't know who I should pick on.
Right.
When Spinal Tap-esque,
Yeah.
immediately something comes to mind from like all of those camps.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. I'm going to say this because James is up there and he knows I love him. and I know he loves me more than anything in the world. And it's no secret to anybody. on this planet that knows who James is, that he had an alcohol problem. Okay. And he had a bad problem. But we tried to help him fight it. Members of the Scorpions try to help him fight it. And no matter how much you do, how much you pay for, how much you coddle somebody, and how much you help them try, nothing will ever get through it until they decide they want to end it, until they've seen the dark side. Well, James never saw the dark side, and it's really unfortunate for us because we lost a great talent. But we went on this ground tour with a Sprinter van and drove down through certain areas of like Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and we worked our way down to where James and Rick Steyer grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was the first gig in James's hometown. So we got there, and we got to the point in the song, I can't name the song right now. There's a song we did where James typically did his long drum solo. And during the Scorpions, he got famous for this drum solo.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Where, you know, he would take off one shirt, show his back, and then say, you gas, and sit down again, play something on the drums, say something on the mic, say something else, take off the next shirt. And then the tattoos would say the same thing the shirt said, or something that, you know, he'd make a joke about and do all that. And then typically he'd get up on top of the drums, you know, step up on the bass drum and turn around. And I just remember being on stage, and it was his hometown, and we're just walking off the stage for the drum solo. And as we're walking off, I just hear this gigantic thud behind me, and I feel the stage go. And the only thing it could have been was the toms of the drums aren't heavy enough to like shake my feet as I'm walking. The only thing heavy enough could have been James's body just hitting the ground. Ouch. And I was like, I don't want to look back. You know, we're walking on stage, and it's just that moment, man. That moment in his hometown with all the, you know, people he went to high school with and whoever else was there. He just got so tanked that he just like completely lost it. And just became a complete mess. Right. So, I mean, that was as Spinal Tap as it gets, man. Yeah. You know, Spinal Tap, the funny things in Spinal Tap are like, you know, when the guys are in the automatic cocoons.
Oh, yeah. The cocoons.
And the one guy doesn't open, you know. Right. That, you know, was reminiscent of that. You know, it's like James is doing the superstar thing, get all the way up on the drums, drummer standing up on the drum, you know, doing the Jesus pose, and then just like falling and
no. So there you go.
There you go, man. That's one of the biggest Spinal Tap moments I remember. You know, it wasn't too bad. I mean, some guys went out there and helped him get up, and you know, people were very supportive because they all knew kind of what was going on.
Right.
But still, it just, I was like, man, you know, everyone's got the, you know, it's the smartphones, and everyone's rolling.
Oh yeah. Anymore, it's like, yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
And I've had those as singers. It's happened, you know, stuff happened where I'm like, shit, I hope nobody had their smartphone rolling.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Well, Keith, thanks so much. And I hope to hopefully even catch Ronnie Montrose Remembered next year. I need to get back to them is what I need to do.
Come on down. Come on down.
No kidding. Thanks so much, man.
Don't wait for Bob Barker. Just tune into Keith St. John and come on down.
There you go. Hey, thanks so much. It was a blast.
This could be the last year ever. This could be.
Yeah. There you go.
You never know.
Yeah. It could be. Hopefully not, though.
Need anything. If you're coming, you know, we'll hook you up.
Yeah, we'll be in touch, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
Yep. Take care.